A figure stood on the shoulder, waving, but its shadow pointed toward me. I noticed it just past the long curve where the guardrail gave out and the road opened into a flat stretch of scrub. There were no streetlights there, only the wash of my headlights and a dim, intermittent glow from a distant sign I couldn't read. The air outside the car looked thin, like the kind of cold that carried sound farther than it should. I had the window cracked an inch and could hear the low, steady hum of my tires on the asphalt. At first, the figure was just a shape breaking the line of the shoulder, upright, human-sized, arm lifting and falling in a slow, deliberate wave. Someone needing help, I thought. Car trouble, maybe. It wasn't unusual on roads like that. Sparse traffic, long distances between exits. I eased my foot off the gas. The headlights reached them in increments. Shoes first, dark, indistinct. Then legs, still. The torso angled slightly toward the road. The arm moved again, lifting higher this time, as if trying to catch my attention before I passed. It should have been simple. Someone stranded. I had a phone. I could at least stop, ask if they needed a call. But as the light spread wider, something behind them came into view. A second shape stretched along the gravel and into the lane. Their shadow. I didn't understand it at first. My brain registered it and moved on, tried to fit it into the scene. The angle was wrong. That was all. Just wrong in a way I couldn't immediately correct. The headlights were in front of me, pointed straight ahead. The figure stood ahead of the beams. The shadow should have fallen behind them, cast away from the light. Instead, it extended forward. Toward me. It wasn't subtle. It didn't angle slightly off or blur into the road. It drew a clean, dark line from the figure's feet straight down the lane, narrowing as it came, as if it were reaching. I slowed more than I meant to. The figure kept waving. The motion was steady, almost mechanical. Lift, pause, lower. Lift, pause, lower. Their body didn't shift with it. No stepping, no leaning. Just the arm. But the shadow moved differently. It didn't mirror the wave. It stretched and contracted in a way that lagged behind the arm's motion, then moved ahead of it, like it was anticipating the gesture rather than following it. When the arm lifted, the shadow's upper edge sharpened before the hand even reached its peak. I told myself it was the terrain. Uneven gravel, a dip in the road, some trick of perspective. My headlights weren't perfectly level. The road sloped just enough to distort things. Still, I didn't accelerate. The hum of the tires seemed louder now, filling the space between me and the figure. I became aware of how empty everything else was. No other headlights behind me, no oncoming traffic. Just that distant sign flickering at irregular intervals, too far away to cast any meaningful light. The shadow lengthened. That was the moment it stopped being explainable. As I rolled closer, the figure stayed fixed at the shoulder, but the shadow didn't remain anchored to it. It extended farther into my lane than the light should have allowed, growing not from the figure's feet but from some point slightly offset, like it had found a different source to project from. I tapped the brakes. The car slowed to a crawl. The figure's arm lifted again, higher than before, almost vertical now. A signal. Urgent, maybe, but the body beneath it stayed rigid, as if the gesture had been attached afterward. The shadow moved before the arm reached its apex. It surged forward, not a smooth stretch, but a sliding motion across the asphalt, like a dark reflection pulled along glass. It stopped a few meters from my front bumper, its edge crisp against the road. Then it tilted. There's no other word for it. The shadow rotated without the figure turning, its long axis angling so that it pointed directly at the driver's side of my windshield. At me. I felt it then, not fear, not yet, but a kind of pressure, as if the space inside the car had shifted slightly, narrowing. The cold from the cracked window seemed sharper. I should have driven on. That thought came clean and simple, like a reflex. This was wrong. Whatever it wasn't something to stop for. But I didn't move. The figure lowered its arm. For the first time, it changed. The head dipped a fraction, chin tucking as if looking down. The shadow reacted instantly. It snapped back a short distance, then slid forward again, correcting its position until it aligned with me once more. The movement was purposeful, adjusting like something trying to maintain a lock. My hands tightened on the wheel. I shifted in to drive fully and pressed the accelerator. The engine responded, a low, reassuring rise in sound. The car began to move past the figure. As I drew level with them, I kept my eyes forward. I didn't want to see their face. I didn't want to confirm details my mind could still reinterpret. But in the periphery, I saw the arm lift again. Too fast this time, breaking the earlier rhythm. And the shadow didn't stay on the road. It lifted. Not entirely, not like an object detaching, but its edge peeled up from the asphalt. A thin sliver of darkness rising along the side of my car, keeping pace as I passed. I flinched, instinctively leaning away. The headlights moved beyond the figure. For a moment, the road ahead was clear again, empty, just the faint glow of the distant sign and the narrowing tunnel of light. Then I checked the side mirror. The figure was still on the shoulder, smaller now, receding. But the shadow wasn't behind them anymore. It wasn't on the ground at all. It stretched from the base of the figure toward the road, then bent at an impossible angle, following the line of my car as if it had found a new surface to adhere to. In the mirror, it looked like a dark seam running along the lane, curving to match my path. I accelerated harder. The engine climbed, the hum of the tires turning into a steady roar. The distance between me and the figure widened quickly, but the shadow didn't recede at the same rate. It held its position in the mirror longer than it should have, its leading edge staying just within view, adjusting with each slight turn of the road. I reached for the window switch and closed it, sealing out the cold air. The interior felt too quiet now, the engine noise dampened, my own breathing suddenly noticeable. I told myself it would disappear once I was far enough away. Shadows needed a source, a surface, a geometry that made sense. Remove the alignment and it would collapse back into something normal. The road straightened. The sign ahead grew brighter, its flicker resolving into a steady, weak glow. A gas station, maybe, or a maintenance marker. I glanced in the rearview mirror. The shoulder was empty. No figure, no waving arm. For a second, relief came too quickly, like something offered before it was earned. Then I saw it. The shadow was still there. Not behind me, not receding with distance, but closer. Spread across the lane directly behind the car, its edge sharp against the asphalt, as if it had always been part of the road. It moved when I moved. I tested it, easing off the accelerator slightly. The car slowed. The shadow didn't lag. It tightened, its leading edge creeping closer to the rear of the car, maintaining that same deliberate alignment. I sped up again. It matched me. The light from the sign ahead passed over the road, briefly washing the asphalt in a pale, artificial glow. For an instant, I expected the shadow to vanish under it, to lose definition. Didn't. If anything, it became clearer, its outline darkening, its shape resolving into something more specific than a stretched silhouette. The upper portion narrowed, tapering like an arm extended forward, fingers implied in the way the edges broke into subtle segments. Reaching, I gripped the wheel tighter, my focus narrowing to the strip of road ahead. I didn't look at the mirrors again. I didn't need to. I could feel it there, the way you feel another car in your blind spot without seeing it. The road carried on, empty and straight, the sign's light fading behind me. The shadow stayed. It didn't overtake me. It didn't fall back. Kept its distance just behind the car, adjusting with every small shift, every change in speed, as if it had decided on that position and wouldn't give it up. After a while, I realized something else. The angle was changing. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the shadow's direction was rotating. Its line no longer perfectly aligned with the lane but turning, degree by degree, toward the driver's side again. Toward me. By the time I noticed how far it had turned, its edge had reached the side of the car, a thin band of darkness running parallel to the door. It didn't need the mirror anymore. I could see it through the glass just below the window line, keeping pace, matching me, waiting. And when I finally forced myself to look down at it directly, the shape shifted, just enough to suggest that it wasn't pointing at the car anymore. but at where I was sitting inside. My rearview mirror showed a second version of my car, following too closely. I noticed it as a density first, a shape where there hadn't been one a moment earlier. The highway had been empty long enough for me to trust it. No headlights cresting hills, no distant glow building behind me. Just the steady hum of my tires and the faint, uneven flicker of the dashboard, like something electrical struggling to stay consistent. Then the mirror held something. At a glance, I assumed it was another driver finally catching up. That happened sometimes on roads like that. Someone faster appearing after miles of nothing. But the distance felt wrong immediately. Too close without the approach. It hadn't gained on me. It hadn't appeared in stages. It was simply there, fixed at a precise interval, as if it had always been following just outside my attention. I adjusted the mirror, angling it down, then back. The image settled. The car behind me matched mine. Same shape, same color as far as the thin wash of light allowed. The contour of the hood, the slope of the roof, even the spacing of the headlights, dimmed but identical. I exhaled slowly and loosened my grip on the wheel. Common car, common road. It didn't mean anything. Still, the spacing didn't change. I pressed the accelerator just enough to feel the engine respond. The pitch deepened, the road markings slipping past faster beneath the headlights. In the mirror, the second car matched it exactly. No lag, no gradual correction. It didn't surge forward or fall back. It maintained that same measured gap with a precision that felt less like driving and more like alignment. I eased off. It did the same. The distance held. The longer I watched it, the more everything else seemed to recede. The road ahead narrowed into a tunnel of light. The darkness beyond the shoulders flattened, losing detail, becoming a uniform mass. A sign appeared on the right, an exit marker, its reflective surface catching my headlights in a dull green flash. I didn't read it, just noted its presence. A minute later, I saw it again. Same tilt, same height, same angle relative to the road. I frowned and leaned forward slightly, scanning for any indication of a loop or split. The highway stretched straight ahead, unbroken. The dashboard flickered again, dimming briefly before returning to normal brightness. The temperature inside the car felt lower than it should have. I checked the vents, unchanged. I looked back at the mirror. The second car was still there. Closer now. Not dramatically, just enough to register. Something inside it caught my attention. A faint glow, uneven and pulsing. Not headlights. Interior light, like a dashboard struggling to stay lit. Like mine. I adjusted the mirror again, more carefully, trying to see deeper into the cabin. For a moment, the angle broke the image. Then it resolved. The glow brightened slightly. There was someone in the driver's seat. No details. No face I could isolate. Just a presence, hands on the wheel, posture aligned with mine. I became aware of my breathing, shallow and measured. I shifted my grip slightly, adjusting my fingers. In the mirror, the figure's hands moved. Before mine. A fraction of a second, but enough. I froze. The figure's hands settled. Then, after a pause that felt deliberate, they adjusted again, testing a motion I hadn't made. I forced myself to look forward. Another sign appeared. The same sign, same tilt, same position. Passed. In the mirror, the second car passed it at the exact same time. I turned my head, just enough to glance through the rear window. Nothing. No headlights. No car. Just empty road dissolving into darkness. I looked back at the mirror. The second car remained. Unchanged. Closer. The license plate came into focus. The numbers felt familiar in a way that made my chest tighten. I looked away, looked back. They settled into clarity. They matched mine. Exactly. The air inside the car felt thinner now, colder, as if something was drawing heat away without movement. I rolled the window up fully, but the cold remained, seeping in from somewhere deeper than the glass. I lifted my right hand from the wheel. In the mirror, the figure lifted theirs first. Then mine followed. I lowered it. The figure's hand dropped before mine. I kept my eyes on the mirror. The road ahead became peripheral, guided by instinct and muscle memory. The interior light in the second car flickered again, brighter this time. For a moment, the figure resolved further. It was me. Not fully visible, not detailed enough to confirm features, but the posture, the angle of the head, the stillness between movements. And the timing. Always before. I shifted in my seat. The figure adjusted first. The road bent slightly. The second car corrected before I turned. The signs repeated. Again. Again. Time felt segmented, looping in small, precise intervals that never fully advanced. The same mile repeating with microscopic variation. Never enough to break the pattern. The mirror vibrated faintly with the motion of the car, and I became aware of its edges, its frame. How contained the reflection was, how stable compared to everything else. The second car edged closer. The gap narrowed. Another fraction. Then another. I didn't change speed. It adjusted anyway. In the mirror, the figure leaned forward. I hadn't moved. I stayed completely still. Watching. The figure remained leaned in, closer to the wheel, its head angled slightly, as if trying to see something inside my car. The interior light brightened further. The passenger seat. Empty. The back seat. Empty. Then the reflection shifted, not physically, but in what it allowed. I saw my car from behind. Not the one I was in. The one in the mirror. Its rear window. And inside, a figure in the driver's seat. Closer now. Too close. Close enough that the distinction between the two cars felt like distance that could be crossed without movement. My hands tightened on the wheel. The hum of the tires deepened, filling the silence. The engine note wavered slightly, as if struggling to maintain a consistent pitch. In the mirror, the figure tilted its head slightly, not watching the road, not watching where it was going. It was watching the mirror, watching the exact point where my eyes met it. I forced myself to look away. The road ahead stretched on, empty and unchanged, but something about it felt wrong now too. The dashed lines seemed shorter than they should have been, repeating in tighter intervals. The roadside markers passed too frequently, their spacing inconsistent. I looked back at the mirror. The second car was closer again. Close enough that the edges of it filled more of the frame. Close enough that I could see the texture of the windshield. And behind it, the figure shifting slightly, not reacting, adjusting, preparing. I lifted my hand again, slowly this time, watching carefully. In the mirror, the figure raised its hand first. It didn't stop at the wheel. It continued upward, past where mine would go, extending toward the windshield. I hesitated, my hand suspended halfway. The figure's hand kept moving, until it reached the glass, flattened there, palm pressed against the inside of its windshield. The gesture held. Waiting, I lowered my hand. The figure didn't. It stayed there, palm against the glass, as if marking a position. Then, very slowly, it began to slide its hand sideways, tracking, following something. I felt a pressure at my own side, a faint awareness of the driver's window. I didn't want to look, but I did, for just a second. The glass beside me reflected the darkness outside, and something else layered faintly over it. The outline of a hand. From the inside, I snapped my gaze back to the mirror. The figure was still there, still leaning forward, still watching. Its hand remained pressed against the windshield, exactly where mine would be if I reached out far enough. I kept driving. The road didn't change. The signs kept repeating. And in the mirror, the second car stayed just behind me, close enough that if I stopped, I knew it wouldn't pass, only settle into place, as if it had been there all along, waiting for me to notice which one of us was actually ahead.